And President Biden's historic exit leaves many questions about the remainder of his presidency and what's next in the race for the White House. And joining us now to break it all down, political strategist JC Polanco. Good morning.
Good morning, Natalie. How are you?
Hi, JC. Well, let's start since we were just watching. So the speech, a lot of rumors, rumblings about the president's feelings about his decision. But based on what he said last night, do you think the president, is he satisfied with not seeking re-election?
I think he is. It was tough. I can't imagine something as hard. You know, I was a Yankee bat boy for 2 years, and I saw players retire, and I saw how hard they took it. And it seemed that weight of I had a 50-year run, and it's coming to an end. And this is how I'm going to cement my legacy. I love the connections that he made with history, with George Washington, with walking away from power. Natalie, remember one thing. He didn't have to do this. That's a fact. Right. He had the delegates. He could have continued. The polls were showing that he was going to lose. But I think after speaking to the people closest to him and people that truly love him and say, you're going to lose this, why don't you cement your legacy and walk out on top? And that's what he did.
And we'll come back to legacy in a moment. But I just want to ask what the remainder of this presidency will look like. Will Biden have the so-called lame duck presidency, or will he just have to work as hard since his policies are going to be so attached to Kamala Harris?
Well, that's a great question. Two things there are absolutely true. Look, in the next 8 months, he's laid out what he's going to work on. Supreme Court reforms, which is a big deal. I don't know if it's going to succeed. He talked about finally getting a cure for cancer in the next 8 months. Again, moonshot. But he does have some big things he can work on. Student loan reform. He can use executive orders to his advantage to make a lot of the things that he couldn't get done through Congress, and he could use it through executive order. And you better believe that he's going to attach Vice President Harris to each one of these, because she needs to have part of this legacy in order to give her the gravitas to win in November. So very, very good question. And yes, on both of those, Natalie.
So it may be soon to say, but back to that on legacy. How does his decision not to run impact that legacy?
50 years. I mean, he gets elected before he's even constitutionally allowed to. Before he was 30, he got elected to the Senate. This man has been in service for over 50 years. And obviously, no politician's record is imperfect. He's had his ups and downs. But one thing I know for sure, Democrats adore him, and they love the fact that he was able to defeat Donald Trump in 2020. So when you take a look at his run as being vice president to the first black American president of the United States, when you take a look at how he won and defeated Donald Trump, and when you take a look at his long record in the Senate, I don't know if anyone ever comes close in history to that long record. And the fact that he leaves on top, leaves for the country, leaves to pass the torch. I mean, this is what a lot of his supporters wanted him to do, which is pass the baton to Kamala Harris and cement a legacy of 51 years in office as a success.
Yeah, such an agonizing, emotional decision there. Well, moving on to the campaign. What did his speech mean for Democrats? Can we expect to see a boost to Vice President Harris, or does it maybe leave some voters worried about the party's indecision?
A lot of folks are worried that this decision may have come a little too late. But one thing is for sure, within a matter of 24 hours, the vice president was able to raise over $81 million. By the end of the second day, she's breaking the $100 million mark. There's incredible enthusiasm in the selection of Vice President Harris to be the nominee for the Democrats. You know, I haven't seen this type of excitement since I was the president of the Board of Elections under Barack Obama's, then Senator Barack Obama's campaign for the presidency. There's a lot of enthusiasm with young people, and I think that this may be a honeymoon, though, Natalie. This could very well be a honeymoon, and the honeymoon could be over by next week. But I think that the selection of the vice presidential nominee is going to be very important for Vice President Harris in this campaign, and is going to give her even more momentum and maybe even a longer honeymoon. But again, this is all about 270 electoral votes. This is not about the national election. This is not about national polls. The question is, can she win in the 6 battleground states that President Biden won in 2020? So these next 2 weeks are crucial for the vice president, Natalie.
Crucial, and also crucial for the Trump campaign. They were definitely prepared to run against Biden, but now that Harris is the likely nominee and already raising this record-breaking money, how does former President Trump pivot here to combat Harris in the election?
We heard it yesterday. No more Mr. Nice Guy, he said. That's what he said. He's going to go to the gutter. And I think that the same campaign strategy against the last time he ran against the woman in 2016 we're going to see more of that now with a twist. It just so happens that Vice President Harris is not just a woman, but she's black and South Asian. So you give a lot of his supporters room to talk about the DEI candidate. DEI meaning diversity, equity, and inclusion, and using DEI as a slur. So I think his campaign strategy is going to be very similar to 2016 with a twist, which now we're going to see some sexism and racism lurk its ugly head during this campaign. I hope not. I hope that the president sticks on the issues, but from what I heard last night, he's very angry at the fact that they had been prepared to run against President Biden, spend money to campaign against Biden. He's even asked for, I kid you not, he's even asked the Democrats to refund him all the money they spent in preparation for President Biden. So, you know, it has to be very tough to be on a campaign team to prepare for one thing, and all of a sudden they throw you a curveball. But c'est la vie. This is what campaigns are all about, the unexpected.
Yeah, the summer of surprises. A lot has happened in this last week. Attorney JC Polanco, thank you so much. We'll continue watching, and to hear the president's entire speech, head to our website, cbsnewyork.com.